Hi there, everybody. Welcome to the show. I know Dana has a story to tell.
I
So
don't know. Can you see it? Let me go over here to
I
Zoom.
can see the
The
very edge of it.
handlebars.
Yeah, yeah.
I
So
have new equipment, you guys.
what is
What?
what are we seeing the handlebars of there?
A scooter.
And why do you have a scooter?
Cause my leg is broken.
Ah, quite an interesting last several days you've had, isn't it?
Boy, oh boy. So yeah, I went to play disc golf with my dad. We didn't even make it. We were walking to the first hole, and we're walking like along the side of a hill. And well, I'm glad you can hear me because I'm further from my microphone because the scooter's kind of in the way and I've got my leg propped up. And it was funny because dad was saying, they need to carve this out more. And I said, well, just walk carefully, watch where you're stepping. And then I'm the one who goes down. And I was walking carefully and I was watching where I was stepping. But the gravel and the dirt was just loose and just went, it just slid. And my foot slid with it. And I landed on top of my foot.
Mm.
So yeah. So then um dad's blaming himself because I asked him to go disc golfing because I know he likes disc golf and he chose the spot where we were going to go. And I mean, I guess he could also blame himself because, I'm his daughter
Yeah, I
and
was just gonna.
therefore
Yeah, he's your
if he
dad.
hadn't,
Yeah.
well, no, I mean, if he hadn't had a daughter, this couldn't have happened. If he'd never had kids, I'm like, you can, all these, but it was an accident, it's not like you shoved me down the hill.
If I'd known you would break your leg once at age 43, I never would have brought children into this world. I'm so sorry.
And I was a big hit at the ER because he's going in asking for went into the ER and asked them for a wheelchair and they're like, we don't do that here. He's like, what are you talking about? And I told him later, I said, Dad, I think they thought you meant you wanted to buy. And so anyway, one of the nurses came out and I'm like, can I get some help, please? I've got my arms under my knee to sort of hold it up. And thanks, everybody. No, it's not a compound fracture. It's a simple fracture, but there was damage to the ligaments because my foot, it's normally just like this. It went out to the
Oof.
side. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was nasty. And I'm like,
You showed
that's
me a
broken.
picture.
It hurt. It was painful. And but inside the car, I had my hand on the door handle. And one of the nurses came over and started opening the door. I'm like, please be careful. I'm holding on there. And like, she looks in through the window. She goes, oh, and she went, Sarah, for it depends on your definition of okay. Possibly yes, possibly no. So anyway, they got it. They did one better than a wheelchair. They got me on right onto a gurney, and shoot, we went in. They're like, I'm gonna get this. And there were like all kinds of people in that ER room, pretty darn quick. Sarah, I broke my leg.
Kemp, she
Oh,
doesn't need surgery.
oh no, I had surgery yesterday.
That's been done.
I need a spectroscope. I need Baymax. Wait, we haven't watched that, have we?
No, I understand the reference because you've talked about it before, but I've never watched it.
So,
So I
hmm.
just, so I before you, I mean, before you go on, if you want to talk more about it, I just want to point out to everybody watching, just, I mean, they know this already, but I just want to remind everybody of how amazing you are because on Sunday, the day after the break,
Yeah.
you recorded our podcast as usual.
Oh, yeah. Ensign vlog.
Even though Jason and I both said, you don't have to do this. Like we can do this some other time. So the day after the break, you recorded the podcast. And now tonight, the day after surgery, you're doing this live stream as scheduled. So that's how, and you're
See,
going back to work tomorrow.
yes.
So
Just for
that's,
2 days,
yeah,
because we have the entire week off for Thanksgiving break. And I haven't seen
yeah.
my students since last Friday, and I didn't tell them I was going to be out. So obviously not Tuesday, but Monday and Wednesday I did Zoom meets with my classes. Just say, hey, how's it going? Here's what I need you to work on. Listen to the sub. So yeah, Sarah, I was, I'm not talking a whole lot because I'm concentrating on my breathing. And they're like, where they gave the number. I'm like 6, maybe 7. And that's, just with the break. So they stuck me a couple of different times. Let's see. This is from when they couldn't get blood drawn. This is today. And then this one was from blood drawn on Saturday or yesterday. And this one was from blood drawn on Saturday. No, Ghost Wheel, it's not sacrifice because I was thinking I've had to send in subplants every day because like I wrote this, we're on a new unit this week. I wrote up my dadgum unit and now I have to make changes to it every freaking day.
Yeah.
Like I made changes to it before going into surgery. I'm like, this sucks. Because I'm like pulling stuff out. I'm like, okay, what can they handle without me there? And it's just like this huge mental load. And so if I'm there, I just do it. That ain't a sacrifice. That is making it easier. Plus, I won't have to do any driving. I won't have to worry about jerks on the road who insist on traveling in the passing lane. It's just not my problem. It's my right leg, so I can't drive at all. So yeah, it's but I haven't seen my students. I missed 3 parent conferences, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm going to try to get those, see if they can meet with me during my planning on Zoom. Oh, I was very satisfied with my care. Aside from the fact that they ran my insurance, they checked my insurance plan and then asked for like half the deductible up front. I'm like, excuse you, usually we get an explanation of benefits after services are provided. So, well, again, here we have these vague words, 255 AD. What counts as good? So it's still going to be super expensive, but I mean, they did a really good job. So, oh God, yeah, I was terrible on the crutches, especially in the house. Like when we went to on Monday, I had an appointment with the guy who's going to be my surgeon on Tuesday. And, I'm going down the hall in his office. He's like, wow, you're really good on those crutches. I'm like, are you kidding? This is like a 2 wheelchair handicapped accessible hall. This is huge.
You
so
have
I
plenty
can
of space. Yeah.
I got plenty of space and, I'm not going around corners all the time. Mixon, I am not assigning homework this semester because we're still in the middle of a freaking global pandemic. But I don't think I'll have to use guilt exactly. But I am not above using, I'm so glad to see you. I missed you all so much. It's not quite guilt.
No, but it is psychology.
Hopefully it'll, so yeah, I have. And so I got the scooter. One of Dwayne's uncles, I think, had one. And then mom said there's 3 that she can get access to if I don't like this one.
Jesus so Christ. How do people in your family, in your orbit, have so many scooters just lying around?
Well, Steve, they're older than we are.
I
guess. They're like a generation up. So, so they might get their scooters from Medicaid. I don't know.
Oh, you get your good Medicaid scooter.
It's got a little basket on the front. And, I guess I can have the phone because I kept the house phone with me in case the doctor called, no matter where I was, scooter or something. Yeah. And then he sent it to me in email. So it didn't, because like, I think my best friend is mad at me because she's like, no, don't do this. I'm just like, I do not have a cast. I have a splint. And so, and no, I ain't letting anybody touch this sucker. When I get my boot, they can sign the boot. So, and hopefully that'll be in 2 weeks. I have an appointment on the 29th. Hopefully they'll cut this thing off and say, yeah, looks great. And then they'll put me in a boot.
Woo-hoo.
So that was the big thing this week.
Yes, I would hope there was nothing bigger this week for you than that,
Well,
because
I
that
mean,
was a
there could
pretty
be
big
bigger
deal.
things. Oh, I gotta show you. I gotta show you my bracelet. This is not my hospital bracelet, but
Yes, fall risk. So I
so
know it's a little late, but be careful.
I thought I was being careful. I mean, seriously, we were literally talking about it and then it happened. Like I was being careful and it didn't matter. It did
It's
not
like
matter.
it's like a Greek tragedy.
Yeah.
It's like Oedipus the king, only a little different in certain ways.
Certainly less incestuous.
A little bit, yeah. I would hope
No,
so.
no,
I
a
mean,
lot. A lot.
you didn't go into that, but I would imagine, I would hope so, yeah.
Temp, yes. A plate and some screws and pins to hold everything in place while it heals. Oh gosh, Sarah.
41 hours.
Have you had a nap? I hope.
Goddamn. And it's only Wednesday.
Yep.
Yikes.
255 AD, 2 weeks in the splint, and then 4 more with the boot, no weight on the leg. And then after those 6 weeks, I think keeping the boot and learning to walk with the boot, and then boot off for more physical therapy. So we'll see.
So a couple of months, basically. Yeah.
So then, so yeah, what I remember in the ER was, giving out my information, and they're trying to get 2 IVs going into me. They only ended up with one. The MD who was there is like, we can make it work with one. I'm like, okay, thank you so much. Because I told him I'm a hard stick. And he's down there at the foot of the bed and he's sort of gently massaging my foot and relocating the ankle. And I'm like, okay, the numbers are going up. The numbers are going up, just so that you're aware. Oh, naps are awesome. Yeah, it was pretty intense. I still haven't heard back from Jordan. She was one of the nurses there, and she was, I don't know, she's going to school to get her next degree. And I told her, I'm like, look, I'm Dana Coldares on Twitter, and you can find me on Facebook. And, seriously, if you're having trouble with any of your writing, just shoot me a message, and I'll, give you some pointers if you're up for it.
Hell yeah. Some tutoring in exchange for fixing my broken leg.
Well, no, no.
It's not transactional. It's not transactional.
Transactional.
It's in appreciation.
Or it's just because if you need it, I can do that. I can provide something that meets a need, and that's nice.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah, last week I kind of had a hunch that this wasn't going to be a great week, but that was because hilariously, I had a massage scheduled for yesterday.
I remember you mentioned it to me. Yeah.
And I did. I got it canceled, but I am going to be working with that. Also I just readjusted the height on the knee pad on the scooter because I want to have it be as, natural as possible.
Yeah, sure.
So, I'm hoping I can use it to my advantage. Let me tell you, when I went to school while I was doing my chemo, I could do no wrong. It was great. Do you want this? Can I cover your class for you? Do you need some time to rest? I'm like, I'm teaching here. So, yeah. But yeah, and definitely the rehab is very important. Mom's told me about a couple of her relatives who pushed themselves harder than they needed to and, ended up with, problems that didn't go away.
Yeah. Yeah. Just do what the doctor tells you. Follow instructions. Don't push yourself too hard.
255 AD. I mean, she's already an ER nurse of some sort. I mean, there were like 8 of them in there. It's hard to tell. She had like really blonde hair. And she's studying for just like whatever comes next in nursing. Okay, Avalok. So no, I'm not, but my dad has a bicycle bell that mom's gonna bring by tomorrow when she comes to pick me up to go to school because I can't drive. And then Dwayne got me one of those little clown horns with the rubber ball and goes. So the bicycle bell is going to be I'm moving backwards and I'm moving forwards. And then they got stuff that I can put on for streamers. And then they got me pinwheels that I can put on the wheels.
I would love
I am going to be thoroughly bedecked.
I would love if you would put a cow catcher on the front of it, though. That would be amazing.
I think that would mess with the balance
Yeah,
somewhat.
it would be a little too forward, a little too
Yeah,
heavy. Yeah.
and if you hit a bump, it does tend to jerk. So I'm being very careful.
Um, ER Mixon asks, which Star Trek doctor would you want treating you if you had an accident? Going to go out on a limb and say probably not Bones. Hey, come on, Bones is a great doctor. Say what you will about his character or his personality. I mean, he's one of my favorite Star Trek characters of all the
Ooh.
franchise. But he sees Bones is a great doctor. I would love to have Bones. I'm sure he could handle setting a broken leg. Christ, I would hope so.
Yeah, I would think any of them would be perfectly competent.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just yeah, the whole I'm an outlier. The well, we talked about me having red wit. I did not talk to, any of the medical staff about that, but
Just couldn't find a way to work it into the
really
conversation, you
do
know?
you really get people who ignore a DNR because they want research?
Yeah.
I guarantee you they don't. Um, but yeah, I don't want to say it's not. They did a good job, and they're not even on television.
Imagine that. I'm glad.
Yeah, I don't really, bedside manner isn't a thing with me, and that was something that I had to learn, that most people care about as a teacher. The whole idea of, it's more they won't care what you know until they know that you care. And I'm just like, come on, you got to know your stuff. And then when I got my gifted endorsement, it talked about how the difference, one of the differences between gifted and regular students is that gifted students tend to be more critical of the teacher's knowledge base. But in both cases, they rank having a teacher that they can tell cares about them above the teacher's knowledge base. I was like, okay, then it's true that I am not there. I'm in the other side, but apparently that's the majority of it. So I make an effort to do things that show that I care.
I want to there was a couple of things in the chat I wanted to respond to, and then we'll start the episode. But also, Black Cover 95, you had a question about the poll, and I think I saw you asked it. Is it the same question you asked in a comment earlier about if it's about the Voyager topic? If that's the question, just let me know in the chat, and I'll go ahead and answer that for you. But yeah, a Blackjack Bull says, I'm on season 1 of DS9. When does it get good? Season 1. Well, but see, I'll explain really quickly. I think conventional wisdom says that the show gets really good starting around season 3.
Wisdom.
Yeah. A lot of fans would say that it starts to get really good around season 3. I personally think it is a great show from the very beginning, and that there are multiple episodes in that first season that are absolutely terrific. But conventional wisdom says around season 3 is when it really takes off and becomes great. But I do not hold to that. I think it was a really strong show from the start. Okay, and Black Cover 95, one of the options was, what if Voyager returned home early? What exactly is that topic meant to explore? So, well, yeah, one of the options on the poll for the January Trek Actually topic is, what if the Starship Voyager actually returned home early? There was a proposal. There was actually it was considered by the producers of Star Trek Voyager around season maybe 4 or 5. I'll have to look this up, and obviously if that topic wins the poll, I'll have to do a little bit more research so I know exactly what I'm talking about. But at some point during the run of Star Trek Voyager, which was the show that was about the ship that was lost on the other side of the galaxy, it was like the Gilligan's Island Star Trek show, there was serious consideration given to just having the ship find its way back to Federation space, and then basically it would just become another Star Trek show. Like the premise of the show would basically have been abandoned, and instead of being the show where they're lost on the other side of the galaxy looking for their way home, it would have been, oh, they made it home, now let's just do the show, and it would be just another Star Trek show. So that's what that video would be about. It would be a lot of sort of pondering and hypotheticals, kind of like my Tasha Yar video where it was like, what if they hadn't killed Tasha? How would the show have been
Yeah.
different? It would be like, how would Voyager have been different if they would have made it home, like not at the end of the series, but like in the middle of the series, and they had several years to go of being back in the Federation. So that's what that video would be about. Um,
255 AD asks if I'm in favor of open borders. Absolutely.
and so am I. I'm in favor of my my immigration policy is let as many people in as want to come in. I mean, you know, try to keep track. Like, don't if some like crazy terrorist wants to come in and you catch him coming in, yeah, absolutely, don't let him in. But I mean, that's not 99.9% of people who want to come
Yeah,
here.
but at the same time, if the crazy terrorist wants to come in, I mean, we can keep a better eye on them here than wherever else they are. I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
From a practical standpoint, so anyway, I do not actually have pizza tonight because mommy and daddy came by and they brought us food, and
oh, good.
we were going to have lunch together, but then it turned out that mom was, dad asked about bringing mom along because, she'd appreciate that too. I was like, yeah, but, isn't she helping out at church? Cause she helps out with their food bank. And he said, yeah, but she'll be done around 2:30 and, we can get there by 3. So, it was actually more like 3:15. It's only a couple hours later. So I don't know. Maybe we'll end up getting pizza after this,
later,
or maybe we won't. I don't know. I was quite full and the food was good and my belly is happy.
That's wonderful. So I hope you won't mind if I eat my pizza while we're watching the show.
I won't mind. If anybody else does.
One last question and then we'll start the episode. And by the way, for anybody who doesn't know yet, we're watching season 2, episode 10 of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Sanctuary. And just like last time, we'll try to watch as much of it without taking a break as possible so we can get it done early, and then Dana can go to bed early if she feels like it. Or have pizza or whatever. But anyway, 255 AD asks, how would they keep the cast the same if Voyager came back home early? Well, they would just bring everybody along with them. I don't see why that's remotely a challenge. Like if they wanted to, because some of the characters on Voyager were characters that they met while they were in the Delta Quadrant on the other side of the galaxy. Well, if the producers wanted to keep the cast the same, then they would just write the episode where they got home so that everybody came along with them. See how easy that is? Like it's all made up.
Hire you, Steve.
It's all made up. It's all made up. You just make it up so that they're still there when they make it back. See how easy this is? Anyway, so shall we?
Steve, start the show.
All right, everybody get ready. Have your
because Blackjack Bulls, you're not going to see it on here. You're just going to see us. So if you notice we've got earbuds in, it's a watch along, not like you watching on this channel.
Yes, so, Blackjack, if you want to watch along, you will have to queue it up on your end. So if you need to take a minute and queue it up, we're watching Sanctuary from season 2. I'm watching it. I think we're both watching it on Netflix, but it's also available on Paramount Plus, and it used to be on Hulu. I don't know if it's still on Hulu or not. And by the way, this is just for the United States. It's who knows what service you have to watch it on in other parts of the world. That's been a subject of some recent controversy. But anyway, so cue it up on your end, get it ready to go. I will count us in from 3 and we will start watching Sanctuary. 255 AD, then you just come up with a reason why they're cleared of their terrorist charges. Again, it's all made
dedicated
up.
Service.
You just make it up. Okay, yeah, exactly. Okay, here we go. In 3, 2, 1, play.
Scott G, there's a time code. There is a time code, right, Steve?
Yes, there's a time code on the screen. So if you get out of sync, just sync back up to that time code. And it is a counting back time code. It's a time left time code because that's the time code I have on my Netflix. But yeah. It's very unprofessional, Kira. You really shouldn't be shouting at the monitor.
Naturally.
That reminds me of you a little bit. That response of Kira when she says, "I thought I kept it down to an angry whisper." Sounds like something you would say.
No, no. If I'm going to say something, I'm going to say it. Sometimes you can't, Kira. Sorry, girl. Good night, Sarah. I'm so glad you stopped in.
Bye, Sarah. ER Mixon. Yes, we're skipping that episode. Which is not to say that's a bad episode because I like that episode, but we're skipping it. Yeah, I'm incredibly busy at work. Let me run right down and see what Quark needs. Thank you, Sarah. Okay, so the guy can play the recorder pretty good. What is the big deal?
Hey, anybody who can make a recorder sound like that is like that's some godlike power there.
It's a way nicer sound than you get from a recorder. I'll give him that much. Be funny if he's just up there playing green sleeves on a recorder. Morn is moved by the music. Oh, and Morn's got a girlfriend. Check it out. I don't think it's actually the DS9 theme, by the way. I think it has a similar quality and a similar tone, but I don't think it's the exact same theme. I don't think the melody is the same. Play something you can drink to. And I'll try not to yell at him this time. King of Ruckus. Yes, we're watching the episode right now. Time code of where we're at is right up there. Hello? Vilcata, I noticed that too. That in past episodes and in future episodes too, when Bajarans clap, they clap like this. They put the back of their hand against the palm, and Kira and the other Bajarans were clapping in the human way. Probably just an oversight. Um, 255 AD, yeah, we had music halls in the United States. I think what we call the vaudeville circuit is closer to what people in Europe call the music halls. But yeah, it was basically the same thing. Kind of like light slash low entertainment. You know, it was big in the 19th and early 20th century in the United States.
I mean, I don't know if it's big, but I mean, it's still a thing, you know, just
Well,
like, like it's the band scene,
yeah, it's
your
different.
local
Yeah,
music stuff.
yeah, it's a little different, but it's the same. It's the same idea. Yeah, we don't really there's not really any such thing as vaudeville anymore, or like the music halls, like the music halls that they had in England, like in the 18 and 1900s. You know, where it's like they put on a little. It's like almost like a variety show. You know.
Yeah, yeah. Generally, it'll be a single show that has that's more thematically connected.
Hmm.
Well, welcome, Kelly.
Hi, Kelly.
It's art.
Well, I
Woo!
hope we've all had a nice, relaxing minute watching the credits. Now we can get back
It's
into the
over.
now our story this week on Deep Space Nine. Sure. God bless the poor bastard who had to transcribe their language into the closed captioning, by the way.
God bless the actor who is,
that,
reciting these lines of gibberish.
that's true. That's true. Did I mispronounce that? 255 AD. Yeah, exactly. That sounds exactly like vaudeville over here. Yeah.
Mhm.
Good. Do I have to?
Ghost Wheel? I don't think so. I think Janeway's hair wasn't as red as that.
It's a similar style. Actually, I think hers is way bigger. It's the
Yeah.
swoop is a lot. Yeah. For you. Corey, exactly. Their language is so incredibly alien. It's going to take us a few minutes to figure it out. Thank you, Carabine. Actually, the Odo voice is really tough to dial in. I can't do it on command. Sometimes I nail it, and sometimes I'm way off. God, can't take you anywhere through a wormhole.
What, that they got freckles?
They're kind of like bumps. And by the way, yes, a couple people have pointed out the kid there is played by Andrew Koenig, who was also Boner on Growing Pains, and is the son of Walter Koenig, who played Chekhov in the original Star Trek. No, Black Cover 95, Deep Space Nine is not a completely cashless society. Some of the aliens who live on Deep Space Nine do still use money, so it's called beef jerky. You show them it's okay. David C. Drake, exactly. They're keeping things a little basic with the with the screens here. Breadsticks, thank you. Can we get some soup? The computer figured it out. We didn't have to do anything. Yay! Thank you, Odo. Had to give Odo some dialogue. What do you
Yeah,
think,
David C.
boss?
Drake. I was like, if you're just listening at it, there are words that sound like some of the other things they've said, but
Yeah, totally.
plot.
They figured it out. You've met them. Yeah, Carabine, I agree. That was really good acting on her part to play the as it was sort of
Yeah.
phasing from her language into English. That was really well done.
Well, Kemp, this is reluctantly.
We just think they should stay in their place. So glad you asked. Boy, Bashir is just teeing him up for
Hmm.
her. He's the exposition prompter for this scene.
Dun dun dun.
Well, they sound friendly. It's just wormhole lag. We're going to be the best of friends. I just know it. I had a bad dream. Yeah, sure, 255 AD. We'll stop at the next commercial. I demand you open it right now. Oh, friends. Good, good friends. Oh. Is that Boner from Growing Pains? Black cover 95, do you think? Azalea Jane, that is a beautiful line. Yeah, great. Three, two, one, pause. Okay, so
I'm paused in the black.
so I am paused with let me put it on the time code there so that we'll just pause for a minute so that 255 AD and anybody else who needs to catch up can catch up. But I am paused at 2207 remaining.
Nice.
Is that where you're at?
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah. Yeah. So we're paused at 2207 remaining. So we'll just take a minute to let anybody who needs to catch up with us catch up. So what do you think so far?
Um, I I don't know. Is it are they considered ugly because of the skin tags, or the sort of dimpled skin, or
I guess I mean I don't really consider them that
repulsive?
repulsive. Like actually, for a Star Trek alien, it's a fairly subtle makeup. I mean,
Mhm.
Star Trek aliens, you're usually thinking like big shit on the forehead and some kind of
Yeah.
like obvious nose appliance or something. I mean, theirs it's a pretty subtle makeup. They're most
Tendrils. Come on, where are the tendrils?
yeah, they're basically just humans with bumpy skin. Like it does, and unless you're really looking at them in a close up, you might not even notice it. Or like you said earlier, it could
It
read
came
as
across
like
as
they
freckles.
just have freckles. Yeah, so I don't think they're
Okay. Somebody had asked me about that, and I was just like, okay, whatever. Yeah, like I and then when one of the boys was like, oh, don't they know how to use a food replicator or something like that?
yeah. It's like they don't probably have those. Well, that's Nog
Well,
though. Nog's role is to be a jerk, and you know,
I guess.
and maybe experience some character growth himself, although we're not quite there with him yet. He does eventually, but I don't think he does yet. But more so to sort of prompt character growth from other characters. Like,
Yeah,
don't be a jerk like Nog, you know.
exactly. Um, I'm not entirely sure what the conflict is.
Oh well, we haven't gotten there yet.
Okay.
That's coming up. But someone else mentioned commented on the apparently the matriarchal society that they have. How the men are sort of the traditional gender roles seem to be flipped from human society, where it's the women who are in charge and the men are the ones that are supposed to stay in the bedroom and keep their mouth shut. And also they're like almost, you know, comically childlike. And Jop Zeldenrust has a really good point in the chat there. A Ferengi being repulsed by behavior that might indicate poverty seems pretty in character. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good point. But if do you have any other thoughts, or shall we watch the rest of it?
Well, I mean, I don't with with their matriarchal society, it'll be
Yeah.
interesting to see how the Ferengi characters deal with that.
Yeah, because that's another one that would be completely contrary to their natural mentality. Yeah.
Azalea Jane, actually, I've been trying to find some quotes from a book I read a few years ago called In Other Lands by Sarah Reese Brennan. It does the inverse sexism thing with one of its characters, an elf, and it's really well done. You know, but the other thing I think that this goes to show is that, you know, reverse sexism isn't a thing in our society because isms are like society-wide issues. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So this is an illustration. This actually is an illustration of what we would consider reverse sexism. So at 255 AD, I didn't think they treated them like idiots when they couldn't understand them. I thought they were just trying to speak, you know, in shorter, easier sentences so that the universal translator would maybe have an easier time of trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Well, and I mean, yeah, I think maybe it came the scene with when they were in the shop and the boys kept grabbing stuff and Odo had to keep taking it and putting it back like they were little children. That came across a little bit like that, but in terms of the way Kira was interacting with I can't think of her name now, but the lead Skrian, when they're interacting, I don't think she's treating her like an idiot. I think it's like if you have no common language with someone, you know, and and they seem to be trying to communicate something important to you, and you just have no frame of reference at all for what they could possibly be talking about. You know, it's like, where do you go from there? You know, especially if you're not like specifically trained for that sort of thing, you know, like these people just showed up and you're like, oh, they need help with something. What do they need? What are we supposed to do here? You know?
So yeah, this Euromexin, and I don't know that it's large numbers of refugees necessarily, but large numbers of a different group of people, especially ones I would say a migrant community, or not just migrant, but specifically immigrant community. Like they are moving to stay here. If they're just passing through, then people are like, oh God, you just, you know, you kind of are like, well, we'll get through it. Da, da, da. Yeah. But having a whole bunch of people who are different coming in and changing things that you liked, people generally aren't cool with that now.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, Azalea Jane, if it's that book by Sarah Reese Brennan, highly recommended. It's YA and it's just a really fun yet intriguing read. Like it's not just like complete fluff, but it is fun and funny, as well as bringing up some interesting perspective points on, you know, gender and sexuality and all that stuff, along with some not super dark paranormal type stuff. So anyway, we can go on if you want.
Absolutely. You ready?
Yep.
Okay. Hopefully,
I am kind of tired, so it's not yet 7. But
well, we have about 20 minutes. We have 22 minutes left in the episode, and then we can have a short chat afterwards and wrap it up. When you can.
And besides, I got to get ready for tomorrow.
That's right.
I'm so glad to be going back.
And I got wrestling tonight, so you know.
Yes, indeed.
I can't be taken all night either. Got to see Hangman Page, his homecoming after winning the world title on Saturday.
Hang on, Black Cover 95. No, but I think it's on the previous. I've been looking through. Go back. No, I actually clicked the back button. I did not want you to give me a list of all the pages I've ever visited.
Ghost Wheel. I don't think I get more money if a premium user watches. You mean? Oh, you mean like a YouTube Premium? Like if you subscribe to like YouTube Premium? Um, yeah, I get something for that because as a premium user, you don't get ads, so I get paid for you watching my video. I get a little tiny piece of that. Yeah, I'm not sure how much it is. I don't know if it's more than I get from someone who watches the ads. I really don't know what the breakdown is, but I get something from premium users who watch my stuff. Yeah.
So here's one of the quotes that I found. Do not have a cat-quiet voice, even if it is that time of the month, said Serene. And when she saw them staring at her, she explained, women shed their dark feelings with their menses every month, but men, robbed of that outlet, have strange mood swings and become hysterical at a certain phase of the moon.
Clever.
Oh my gosh, was it really that far back that we found her name? I'm sorry.
You're right.
Just slightly irked. All right, I'm giving up now.
Okay.
So the main character asks the elf what her name is, and she says, "My name is Serene." He's like, "That's." She says, "I go by Serene," or something like that. She's like, "That's a lovely name." And she says, "Well, it's not my full name." And he says, "What is that?" And she says, "Serene in the heart of battle." And he
Nice.
goes, "That is badass." So, all righty.
Ready?
I'm not gonna be able to find enough quotes. It's so good. Anyway, yes.
Okay. Here we go. So once again, we're paused at 22:07 remaining on Netflix, and we're going to get back into this. I'll count us in from 3, and we'll watch the second half of the episode. So here we go. In 3, 2, 1, play. Does that sound like something I will do, Odo? Come on. It was a prank, universally acknowledged as the best form of humor. Ooh. Looks like it hurts.
Isn't
Hey,
that
that's really
sexual assault of a minor?
Yes! Oh my god! Yes! Oh my god, that's hilarious. Yes, I never thought of that before. That's totally what that is. Oh no, you can't do that. It's
Just,
like it's like grabbing a human kid by the cock and just dragging him away. You're like, what?
I mean, it would certainly be very effective.
You can't do that.
Obviously, he can.
It would be, yes, it would be very effective. But Jesus.
Why did you bring him in here? Oh my god. Weren't you paying attention for the last few episodes? Vilcata, I do try to pay attention.
Like, Jesus, try to follow me here, Nog. Keep up, okay?
Yes, I can. I saw that coming. I'd rather deal with them than with you.
We're clear on the fact that I hate you, right?
I'm curious about like recorder dude.
Meeting adjourned. The Golden Girls Council will meet again tomorrow night.
David C. Drake.
Eggnog. Very nice. Here I sit, brokenhearted.
How come he ain't got an ear cuff?
How come you ain't got what?
An ear cuff.
Oh, he doesn't, does he? I never noticed that before. Anyway, you get it. It just kind of goes on like that. Yeah, why would you want a CD when you can have a little hologram of a guy?
Hi, David Corson.
Ghost Wheel, he was probably best known as being on the Patty Duke show, but he's been in tons of stuff.
Um, Not so much just straight, but see a little bit out to the side as well. So it wasn't as stiff and flat. It tended to be more poofed up.
Real convincing, Nog. Yeah, yeah. Rumble on the promenade.
Just a little
Acting.
on the end there.
Not like our legendarily well behaved Ferengi children. Oh, I've heard of Cephala Prime.
Cuddle puddle.
Oh, you're just in time for our consciousness raising meeting. Come in. You're just more man than any of them have ever seen. There's your conflict. Bum, bum, bum.
Maybe, I don't know, listen to them.
Yeah. We've thought about this for like an hour.
Hmm.
Always asking for a handout.
did I miss something?
What?
Like, do we have any idea why they're so set on Bajor?
Because of the legend. Because they think it's their mythical homeworld.
Seriously, a friend isn't just somebody who gets you what you want. But
It's not.
it's not transactional. Yeah, and I'm just, oh, it's really heavy-handed. I mean, it's not without interest, but
Answer me, boner. Ooh, big time.
I think we're the red dot.
Which dot are we? Uh-oh.
Bill Cosby, exactly.
Oh, snap. The end.
Bloop.
Yes, Ghost Wheel, this was a heavy episode. And as Dana mentioned, a little bit of a
Heavy-handed
heavy-handed
as
episode.
well.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I think part of the problem is that well, at least part of well, there's problems that there are problems with it dramatically, but there are also problems with the allegory, at least from
Hmm.
from my perspective and just based on my feelings about refugees, which is they actually do a really good job, I think, of presenting the situation so that
Yeah.
it's complex enough that you can see both sides and you can understand why the Bajoran government would not want them, but you can also see why it might be short-sighted of them to not accept them.
Hmm.
And my problem with that, and I think that's really well done. But my problem with that is, I don't think most refugee crises are that complicated. I think most refugee crises in real life are, oh, they need somewhere to go, let them in.
Yeah.
Like help them, like it's not well, let's look at both sides of it. It's like, no, especially if you are from a country like the United States that has plenty of money and plenty of room, and you're like, oh, I don't know about letting the refugees in, like, well, then you're an asshole.
Yep.
No, we should let them in. We have the ability to help them. We should help them. End of story. uh you know so I don't think it works quite as well as it might as a metaphor, because it makes it makes things way
Yeah.
too complicated than they should be. um you know but yeah, and dramatically it's like, I do think that they write the Skreans as being a little pushy, and I do think that they write the Skreans as having their attachment to Bajor be rooted, it seems like, almost entirely in their legend.
Interpretation of the prophecy. Yeah.
Yeah, their prophecy, and it's like that makes them like Azalea was saying in the chat. It's like they're, give us your planet. Our prophecy says that your planet is our planet. It's like that's a little presumptuous.
Yeah.
Especially when you have another place to go. Like the Federation is like, we
Yes.
we we got you this other planet. It's all yours. It's perfect. You can have this one.
No,
And they're like,
but I want that one.
yeah, yeah. So you know that kind of hurts it a little. And then the last minute drama with the kid stealing the ship, and I
Hmm.
think that might have worked a little better if they had established that he had a preference to go to Bajor as opposed to going to the other planet, which they never did. Like it's like they show you that he's discontented, and they show you
Hmm.
that he, you know,
They do show you that he doesn't. He says to Jake that he doesn't want to go to the other planet,
to the other planet. Yeah,
but
but
he
if
doesn't say, "I really want to go to Bejor is our home."
yeah, if they had maybe put a scene in there where he had, you know, he was particularly interested in the Kentana legend or something, you know,
Yeah.
and he was like really taken with the idea that Bajor was Kentana and he wanted to live there, you know, but then that might have undercut the juvenile delinquent thing because they also wanted him to be the juvenile delinquent who was like getting in fights and, you know, and
Mm.
rubbing people the wrong way. And I don't know, there's a lot of stuff. There's, you know, it's messy in a lot of ways. Um, but I think I mentioned before when we were talking about this, and I think I've mentioned it when this episode has come up in other discussions with other people. It's not so much that it's a great episode. I mean, it has potential and there's
Mm.
good stuff in it. Um, but overall, I don't think it's a really great episode, but it's great for
Conversation.
conversation. Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
It's interesting to talk about. So
255 AD. No, that wouldn't have been better. And that would definitely have been worse. We just don't. You're not the right kind of people. No, that's definitely worse. A practical concern like we might not be able to feed everybody is better.
yeah, yeah,
So
exactly. I mean, like that's I think it's it's not completely unreasonable the position that the Bajarans are taking. The Bajarans are saying,
and
look,
Galenda, that's exactly it. Yes, they asked, but then when they were told no, they kind of threw a fit.
yeah. And I mean, I think the ultimate message, and you know, and again, this falls on my side of the refugee metaphor, which is, you know, the Bajarans ultimately made their decision based on fear and
Hmm.
based on assuming that the worst case scenario was the most likely scenario and therefore the scenario that they should act in regards to. um and it's sort of pitched as kind of a tragic ending. It's like, you know, the Bajarans, like what Hanik says at the end there, like after the occupation you've become fearful and suspicious, and you know, you could have embraced us and welcomed us and we could have helped each other, but instead that's never going to happen, or we're never going to know, like we'll never know what could have happened. But
David
because
C.
of
Drake, no, you are wrong. It did not provide the first mention of the Dominion because I recognized it. And I had never watched Shives before. So there was something either earlier in the
it was
season or like towards the end of season one.
it was the episode a couple Deep Space Nine episodes ago, the one you really hated, the Ferengi romance episode. That was the first mention of the Dominion. So that's probably why you couldn't remember specifically, because you blocked it out, but you knew you'd heard it before somewhere.
Yeah.
Uh,
Um,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, Azalea says, I hope we skip Rivals next time. We are going to skip Rivals, even though I actually have a big soft spot for that episode. I really like that episode, but we are going to skip that one. Actually, I think the next Deep Space Nine episode we watch, let me consult the helpful guide that Sarah Scott wrote for me. We are skipping Rivals, which would be the next one. And
Mm-hmm.
we're going to watch the alternate, which is the one after that, because that's an important episode for Odo's character development. That's the alternate is the episode where we meet Odo's surrogate father figure. So I think that's important, and it's a pretty good episode. So I know, AJ, I like Rivals. I like Rivals, but
Chris Kriegel
it's skippable.
said, no, Ghost Wheel said, how would you write it today when refugees are being used as weapons? I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Yeah, you mean like political weapons?
I have
I
no idea.
guess. Yeah.
Um, the big guy, okay, yeah, kind of famous actor.
Yeah, that's Brian Johnson. That's the guy. Remember, I told you when we were watching it, he was a vampire in the first episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He
Yeah.
was an alien hitman type guy on the X-Files. He's one of those guys, like as soon as you see him, like you see his face and it's like, oh, that guy. He's one of those guys. He's been in tons of stuff.
Not for me.
Well, for me anyway.
Um, yeah, 255 AD, it's difficult to get that across on television. where you typically don't have like voiceover, because that's not something that people will say out loud. You know what I mean? They're polluting, these immigrants will pollute our culture. It's generally more deftly stated than that. But yeah, that's part of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there are lots of different ways that a Star Trek show could tell like a refugee story that would be relevant to our present situation, and that would be better in terms of the metaphor, would be, I think, would be better than this one was. Um, in fact, there were hints that they were going to do something like that with the first season of the Star Trek Picard show, and they never really got into that too much, which was one of the things that kind of disappointed me about that first season a little bit. Was like there were hints that with the because in the first season of Star Trek Picard, the situation is that the Romulan homeworld has been destroyed several years before this, and so the Romulans have kind of become galactic refugees, and there's a lot of story potential there with like a formerly powerful nation being brought to its knees by this horrible natural disaster that destroyed its homeworld, and now the survivors are sort of like homeless, and brought to a much lower state in the galaxy. um, but the series doesn't wind up really being about that, which is too bad, because there's a really rich vein of story there that they mostly leave untapped. Um, but yeah, there are lots of ways they could write it today that I think would be superior to this. And like I say, for me personally, a lot of it would just be simplifying the situation, not trying so hard to make it well, you can see both sides. Make
Mm-hmm.
make the challenge being like, have characters who don't want them, you know, but don't give them such a great case. Like make it about their fear and their bigotry and their like how it is in real life. you know.
Um, 255 AD. I don't. I mean, I don't feel one way or another about that, because I can see that. I mean, essentially, they seem to be. They know the kind of people they are. That if you're here,
Yeah.
and we have the ability to help you, we will make things worse for ourselves. Maybe not, unsurvivable, but there is an obligation to help others if you can. And that. But if we have a place for you. If there is a place where you won't need as much help, that's going to be healthier for both populations. So yeah, I can totally see that. It you know if you agree to help someone once and say, okay, we're going to give you this is it, but helping someone forms a bond with them.
Mm-hmm.
It's yeah.
Well, and also, I mean, you are morally obligated. Like, even if you make some kind of agreement, like even if the screen said, okay, we agree, like if we can't make it on our own, you don't have to help us. Like, you still have to help them morally, even if you come up with some legal agreement that says we're not responsible.
Mm-hmm.
You still have to help them. I mean, just if you're at all able to, you know what I mean? Like it's not as simple as saying like, well, we signed a contract, we don't have to help. Sorry, you
which is
know.
which is also a great way to segue into the charity links.
That's right. That's right.
I mean,
Um,
helping people is just good.
it
Period.
is. It is.
Full stop.
One quick question from Ghost Wheel, and then we'll get to the charity links and wrap up.
Okay.
Ghost Wheel says, to lighten things up, which Star Trek character would you most want to wake up in jail with? To me, the answer is obviously Quark, because you won't be in jail for very long. Because he's breaking out of that fucker, and hopefully you befriend him and he'll take you with him.
If it's profitable.
If it's profitable, yeah, you show him that you're of use, that But yeah, so anyway, yeah, let's start wrapping this up so that you can get ready for bed and get ready for your return to work tomorrow.
School day.
Don't forget the charity links, as Dana just mentioned. Charitylinks.page is the link, and they are linked in the description as well. Click the link, and you'll go to a page maintained by our buddy Some Random Geek, and it has links that you can go to donate to various people and organizations that need help, who are in some financial stress, some financial anxiety at the moment, and could use a few extra bucks. So if you want to help some people and do something good, check out the charity links, and we would really, really appreciate it. Also, don't forget that Dana has her very own YouTube channel,
Yes, I do.
youtube.com/Dana Coldares. And if you would be so kind to not only watch her awesome videos, which are terrific. Actually, you just had one go up yesterday, right?
I did.
Your title alphabetization video. Um,
Mhm.
but Dana makes videos about all kinds of stuff. And of course, watch them, like, share, subscribe, etc., etc. But most importantly,
Please, please, please leave me comments. I mean, seriously, you can just, write something in. It's like, I'm having a really bad day today. Doesn't have to have anything to do with the content of the video. I just like talking to people. It's nice.
you just like
So,
getting
and
mail.
especially if you have a question, or if you notice something that I said that was incorrect, absolutely call me out on that. That's not bad. That's good. I'm always ready to learn.
Absolutely.
255 AD did ask if I liked this episode.
Yes. Did you like the
I've
episode?
sort of, it's okay. I felt like they tried to do too much with the matriarchal society that really nothing ever happened with that. And then, it was all about the refugees and where we're going to put them. And then I felt like and then of course, the squabbles but it was all just very surface level. You couldn't get too much into all of it. Um, I did what was talking over me when 255 AD at this point, I'm confused. So it was, it was an okay episode. It wasn't one that I got really excited about. I thought they were interesting to look at. I did notice that the woman that they picked as the leader,
Mm-hmm.
the others were wearing sort of muted browns and teals and grays, nature colors, and she was wearing purple. Just saying.
Ah, nice.
So yeah, she stands out.
The color of royalty.
Yay! Absolutely, Azalea Jane. I would love that. Rando comments are generally enjoyable and fun, and sometimes hilarious.
Don't forget that Dana and I will be back on Friday for Read Away for the next 3 chapters of Quicksand. And also, don't
Oh,
forget,
that's this Friday?
that's this Friday. Unless you
Uh-oh.
can't make it, unless you can't do it, then we can reschedule. But I mean,
I think I
okay, if you
think I
can't, just
can.
let me know, and we'll do something else. But yeah, and also today was my new Trek Actually video went up. It's What Does Star Trek Actually Say About Religion? So if you haven't watched that yet, check it out. I think it turned out pretty good. Next Wednesday will be the next Trek Actually comment response video. So there's all kinds of stuff for that one. Lots of interesting comments over the videos for the past month or so, past 2 months actually. So that'll be fun. And yeah, that's it. Hey, I mentioned this on social media. I haven't mentioned it on YouTube yet. On a week from tomorrow, which is Thanksgiving here in the United States, there will be a new Stuffy video. It'll be a Stuffy Turkey Day video, which is where myself and Stuffy, and this year and from now on, it'll be Jack McPherson taking the 3rd slot, where we watch a video like an old educational film or an old industrial film or something, and we riff on it, Mystery Science Theater style, in honor of the Mystery Science Theater Turkey Day Marathon. So I wrote it today. I haven't shot any of it yet, but I wrote it today, and I showed it to Dana, and she can throw in her 2 cents.
You showed
And
it to me shortly before the show
yeah,
started, and
I
so I
know
haven't read it yet.
I know, but I'm just saying I'm
Maybe
not,
maybe I can give props to it on Friday.
yeah, I'm not going to, you have time. I'm not going to shoot it like tonight. I mean, but yeah, so
No, you
anyway,
got wrestling to watch.
I got wrestling to watch. I don't have no time to shoot it tonight, but yeah, so that's a week from tomorrow. And yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. It'll be nice to do some Stuffy video again. So anyway, that's it, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Thanks for watching Deep Space Nine with us. We'll be back. And next week, we're watching Hilda again.
Hilda.
So join us for that. And Dana, good luck back at school tomorrow.
Thank you. I hope it goes well.
Me too. I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care.
Bye, folks.
We'll see you later. Bye.